You can now buy property in the metaverse, well, virtual property, and some of it is selling for millions of dollars. Don't ask me why, I'm an expert in property, not virtual property. Welcome to the channel, my name is Shane Fleming, and in this video I'm exploring the idea of buying property in virtual reality. I would love to know what your thoughts are on the topic. Have you bought any property in virtual reality, or are you even considering buying property in the metaverse? I did look at buying virtual property some time ago, but I lost a little bit of interest in it. I didn't see the appeal and I felt it was a risky investment. To be honest, I just didn't know enough about the process of buying virtual property, and I didn't know where value could be found, so therefore I felt it would just be speculation and therefore a little bit of a gamble, which I didn't want to do. In terms of investing in the metaverse, I personally don't know enough about the risks or the process itself, and this video is not an investment advice video. I did come across a very interesting concept that caught my eye called MREIT or MREIT, which was taking the principles of a REIT, which is a real estate investment trust, and applying those principles or characteristics of a fund to the meta universe and buying and holding investment properties within the meta universe. I did try to buy one of the tokens, but I got lost in the whole process of setting up a wallet to buy the token and never did in the end. However, if I had have bought a token, I would have been up a few %, but I didn't buy it, so let's move on. The reason I considered buying Emery was because the founders understood real estate, they also understood blockchain technology, and I personally understood their strategy because they were taking strategies that are applied to REITs and applying that to the metaverse. So in essence, it was reducing some of my risk if I ever was to buy virtual property. But it got me to think, what are the principles that hold up property values in the real world, and can you actually apply them to the metaverse? Can you apply the same principles to virtual property as you can to real property in terms of trying to come up with a value for an actual virtual asset? And I think the first basic you would look at would be some characteristics of an actual property itself. Property can be used for shelter, i.e. a home, it can be used for a place of business, and it can be used as an investment and generate rent. The same probably can be applied to virtual property. It can be used as a place to do business. There's lots of online shops. Also, you can rent out these properties as well to businesses, but it falls down on the shelter element. You cannot live in it. So I'd ask the question, why are people drawn to buying virtual real estate? Is it because they think it is going to go up in value and therefore it is a speculative bet? Or do they just want to own something if they're involved, or like a game that's associated with the virtual space that they're trying to buy and hold a piece of it? Or is it because, perhaps worryingly, that some people just feel that they may not actually ever be able to buy a property in the real world and want to buy a virtual property? One of the main drivers for demand or prices for property will be the economic base of an area. Sometimes that economic base is a college, or perhaps it's a large company that employs a lot of people. That economic base can disappear if a college closed down or a factory closed down, and perhaps people will leave that area, which will ultimately have a negative impact on price. Perhaps you can apply the same kind of economic base to some of the virtual worlds, because a lot of the virtual worlds are based around a particular game and people will come to play that game. Therefore, that area that their property is based in is in high demand because people are trying to play that game. But with that, some games go up or down in popularity, and ultimately that could impact the price of the property. Every property is unique. No two properties are the same. Even if two houses are built the same way, they'll have two different views and therefore they are unique. This uniqueness is a driver for value. One would argue that every property in the metaverse is unique because it has its own blockchain code. However, who looks at the actual code when you're looking at these things in terms of value? Will properties be easily copied within the metaverse? The scarcity of property also underpins its value. In the real world, property can be hard to find and hard to get sometimes because of limited supply, perhaps because of government controls on land use, and it also takes a long time to build a property. Maps in one particular metaverse may limit space and create scarcity. However, there's no limit or end to the amount of maps or virtual worlds that can be created. The immobility of real property impacts supply and demand and also has an impact on price. You cannot just pick up a piece of land or a building and place it somewhere else if demand is higher in a different location. Location is a fundamental element of value in the real world. There's no doubt that location will be extremely important within the metaverse as well. However, how immobile will a piece of code be or a building be within the metaverse? While real estate in the metaverse share some characteristics of real estate in the real world, they don't share enough of them that are going to underpin the value long term. Therefore, I see investing in property in the metaverse as far riskier. Perhaps that risk could be reduced if you understand what you're doing and it's not as speculative. But I, for one, am going to be jumping into investing in virtual property just yet. It is likely that some people are going to make a fortune out of the metaverse in terms of buying property, but there will also be a lot of losers as well. Also, can you get a mortgage on a virtual property? Perhaps virtual mortgages or meta mortgages are the next things to happen. Let me know if you see that happening as well. Also, please feel free to comment on the video, give it a like, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.